Welcome back to another episode of MD After Dark.
Ow! Bro, we're not starting off like that.
Yes, we are. I might introduce some sound effects, so we'll see how that goes. But anyways, of course, I'm Michael Hearn today without Jay Taylor. Yeah, I don't know, maybe spice it up a little bit. But is Dre Draying tonight?
Yeah, I made a bunch of money today, so that's good.
That's always good. And yeah, so we got a lot of stuff to cover through today. We got NHL action, NHL, NBA, and MLB action to start off with. College basketball crown, and then briefly touch the college basketball crown championship and the women's basketball championship as well. We'll just cover that for a brief sec. And then we have some breaking news as well, but we'll get that. Let's actually start with that breaking news. So, literally just like 5 to 10 minutes ago, before we started recording this, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. signed a 14-year, $500 million contract extension. Yeah, that's a lot
Why
of
is
money.
that a bra moment? That ain't a bra moment.
No, I'm just saying, that's a lot of money. I give Vladimir Guerrero Jr. his talent, but wow. 14 years for $500 million. And yeah, this basically just came out of nowhere, like the contract extension at the time. The Blue Jays, this is supposed to be a year, like, this is the big year. I mean, Guerrero's final year, like, I guess the Blue Jays have gotten off to a really hot start that they feel comfortable getting that extension. But Dre, let me get your thoughts. What are your thoughts about this Guerrero extension?
He's not playing until he's 40. He's not. There needs to be a salary cap in baseball, and this is the perfect reason why. People who aren't supposed to be valued at $500 million shouldn't be getting $500 million just because there's no salary cap. Stupid. He is not 14-year, $500 million contract good. I'm going to go on his career stats right now.
So, what would be like a reasonable like year length?
Like 6 years, $200 million. What is that? 30-something million a year?
Interesting. So, if you do the math, 500 divided by 14, or 500 divided by 14, I think that is around, what is that? My math is not mathing currently right now. Is it like 30 to 30, like around like 35 million per year?
How
Yeah,
many
something like that.
zeros are in 500 million?
5. Wait, 500 million.
9, right? Or 8?
Yeah, there's 8. I was thinking 1,000. Yeah, I need to do that after that terrible
That's
math
That's
equation.
$35.7 million per year. So if we're gonna do the math there, then let's do 200,000 or 200 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 20 divided by. So I would go 8 years. 25 million a year. He could even get less than that, in my opinion. I think like 150 for like 7. 1, 5, 1, 2, 3, 15, 100,000, 1.5, 150 divided by 6. That's the exact same. So yeah, around 25 million a year. That's what I think he should be making. Because he's not Shohei Ohtani, but he's not a bum. Yes, he's only had, let's see, he's had 2 seasons where he's batted above 300. One of them was the 60-game season back in 2020. He doesn't show his home run stats, bro. Come on. But other than that, I mean, he struck out over 100 times in three of his 6 full seasons, and of course you're not going to strike out 100 times in a 60-game season. That'd be horrible. I mean, he was 1 away from 200 hits last year. He's had 2 seasons where he's had over 100 RBIs, but he's also had 2 seasons where he's had 90s. I don't know. I just don't think he's worth $37 million a year.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I mean, I could see why the Blue Jays overspent him, probably just to beat a team out west, probably. But I just think this is more of an insurance thing. Like, have Guerrero, just make sure that Guerrero's locked up because he's like the main center of he's the main focus of the franchise. Like, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the face of the franchise. So I guess you try to lock him up as long as you can. But again, if this contract turns out to be an albatross, this is definitely going to hurt Toronto for the next decade. Kind of like what the Brewers did with Ryan Braun and a little bit with Christian Yelich. But, I mean, at least
No.
Yelich was...
Christian Yelich's contract was horrible. He is nowhere even close to Vladimir Guerrero, and I will talk to a brick wall against that because honestly, yes, Christian Yelich was MVP form in 2018 where he won, and then 2019 where he was runner-up but he got hurt. Ever since then, all the Brewers fans have been talking, oh, he's gonna make a comeback, and he's still nowhere even close to Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah, I mean, last year Yelich had a pretty good year, but then again, he got injured again. My thing about Yelich is that he really just can't stay healthy, and and then it takes him a while to get back to a stuff where he was. But my thing about Guerrero is that if he stays healthy and he keeps playing at the way that he is for like the next 14 years, this contract will be worth it. But hopefully Guerrero just continues to play good baseball for the Blue Jays with that contract. So, yeah, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. again, 14-year, $500 million extension with the Blue Jays. And this was kind of unexpected because we were thinking about for the Blue Jays again, like this was the year to do something like boom or bust. But I guess the Blue Jays got to a hot enough start that they were comfortable with extending him. So I think next what their to-do list is probably Bo Bichette. Looking at the contract here. Yeah, it looks like a 3-year contract. I'm just looking up. Okay, here's Bo Bichette's contract. So, yeah, he's an unrestricted free agent in 2026. So that's the Blue Jays' next project there, or their next task. Make sure you lock up Bo Bichette. But anyways, they got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. That was their biggest worry, their biggest focus. They got him locked up. Looks like the Blue Jays will be set with him for the next 14 years. But, Dre, any more thoughts about the Guerrero extension?
No, I'm going to debate now. I don't care how long this takes. I'm going to compare Vladimir Guerrero's stats to Christian Yelich's stats. I just want to look. Already I'm seeing a significant difference. Yeah, definitely. So, basically what the hell? Dude, I'm not even going to say that. But yeah, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hasn't struck out more than 116 times in his career, and Christian Yelich has done that. He did it in his second MVP season, and he did it both seasons. So Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s walk rate is actually better, and then also Christian Yelich hasn't played. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has played at least 156 games in the last 4 years. Christian Yelich has done that 0 times. The most he's played is 154. He's had more walks, but that's because he's also had more strikeouts. In 2022, he struck out once a game to the 88 walks he had. So, Vladimir Guerrero, the most walks he's had is in 2021 when he had 86 to 110 strikeouts. which is a much better number compared to Yelich. But overall, as long as Vlad can stay healthy, which kind of derailed Yelich's career, but other than that, I feel like it's still not a very good contract for team wise, but Vladimir Guerrero's getting the bag, so.
Yeah, definitely a big payday for Guerrero. I bet. Yeah, I bet that Guerrero family is probably have a lot of money because, his father, Vladimir Guerrero Sr., definitely made his payday. And then now his son, Junior, is getting that whopping contract. My goodness. So, yeah, we'll return back to MLB in a little bit to discuss the day in the MLB. But for right now, we're going to go back to basically the biggest storyline of the day in all of sports, in my opinion. Alex Ovechkin today scored his 895th career goal, breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time record of 894. So Alex Ovechkin is now the NHL all-time leader in goals. After Ovechkin scored that goal, they took a long pause at a whole ceremony in New York, by the way. This game was not in Washington. Ovechkin gave a speech. The commissioner, Gary Bettman, was out there. Just what a moment for Ovechkin. So, Dre, so with Ovechkin being the all-time leading scorer, where does this place Alex Ovechkin in GOAT talks?
So he passed Wayne Gretzky, right?
Yeah, for all-time goals.
Was Wayne Gretzky the one that we were talking about that had like 2,000 total points?
Yeah.
That's just insane to me. That is just like he might have less goals. It doesn't matter. Wayne Gretzky is the best hockey player of all time.
Yeah, I definitely still think that. I mean, Ovechkin's got a long way to go,
And
but
isn't he old?
Ovechkin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's like 40.
39. He turns 40. Man. Um, I don't know a lot about all-time hockey players, but overall, you got to think he's at least top 10. That's all. I can't really give you a great opinion, but he's obviously one of the best of all time if he's the all-time leading goal scorer.
Yeah, I definitely put him top 5, maybe even top 3 category. I mean, Ovechkin's just had a great career. I mean, him and Sidney Crosby were definitely were the NHL mainstays for 2 decades now. Even when I didn't really get into hockey that much, like 5th and 6th grade, I always heard about Alex Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby. Those two are the faces of the sport, and especially with Alex Ovechkin now finally putting hockey, getting growing popularity in the NHL as well. Just, yeah, what a moment for Ovechkin. I mean, just the fact that he had a whole entire ceremony in New York is crazy. The whole stadium, that's the loudest I heard a stadium be when an opposing player scores. Just what a career that Ovechkin's had, and yeah, what a legacy he's gonna leave behind. Just tremendous player, tremendous human being. I mean, doesn't get much better for Alex Ovechkin. But in that game, though, the Islanders did beat the Capitals 4-1. Of
He is the
course.
only goal
Yeah.
scorer.
Yeah, Alex Ovechkin was the only goal scorer. I mean, yeah, of course, Alex Ovechkin scored the Capitals' only goal, 895th. We talked about that. But assisting on that 895th was Dylan Strome and Tom Wilson. I think it's fitting that Tom Wilson assisted on Ovechkin's goal because Tom Wilson has been a Capital for as long as I remember. He has been there for the Stanley Cup. The time that they won the Stanley Cup in 2018, and far beyond that. Just, I feel like it's fitting for Tom Wilson to be a part of that assist. And then in net today for the Capitals was Charlie Lindgren. He did not have the greatest day. 18 saves, 22 save attempts, allowing 4 goals with an 8.18 save percentage. But anyways, I feel like it was Alex Ovechkin's day today. But then looking at the winning side now, the Islanders, they were led by Mark Gatcomb, who had 2 goals on the day. And then also scoring goals were Bo Horvat and Jean Gabriel Pagot, or is it Jean Gabriel Pagot, or something like that. And then assisting today was Kyle McLean, who had 2 assists. And then also assisting were Simon Holmstrom, Anders Lee, Matt Martin, and Alexander Romanov. And then in that today for the Islanders was Ilya Sorokin. He had 28 saves, 29 saves attempts, allowing 1 goal with a .966 save percentage. So a great performance there by Ilya Sorokin. But anyways, the Islanders defeat the Capitals 4-1. Of course, the big storyline being Ovechkin's 895th goal of the year. We're going to continue with the NHL. That was Ovechkin's goal was not the only thing that happened to the NHL. And my team, the Minnesota Wild, a huge win against Dallas Stars. They won 3-2 in overtime, and scoring the game-winning goal in overtime was Marco Rossi. I mean, wow. I'm actually just impressed that the Wild actually managed to score goals against Jake Ottinger today. Like, I'm impressed. I'm impressed, Minnesota. Keep up the good work. I mean, Kirill Kaprizov did not come back today, but he might come back Wednesday, so hopefully he comes back. But anyways, that was a big win for the Wild. And of course, with Marco Rossi scoring the game-winning goal, he also got an assist today. But leading overall for the Wild was Matt Boldy. He had a goal and 2 assists today. And then scoring the other goal was Marcus Foligno. And then also assisting for the Wild was Ryan Hartman, Matt Zuccarello, and Jared Spurgeon. And then in that today for the Wild was Philip Gustafsson. He's finally back on track. 23 saves, 25 save attempts, allowing 2 goals with a .920 save percentage. So good bounce back day for Gustafsson, looking like his normal self again. And then looking at the Stars, Jason Robertson and Thomas Harley scored goals for the Stars. And then assisting was Matt Duchene, Mason Marchment, and Essa Lindell. And then the net today, Jake Ottinger was solid. He had 38 saves, 41 save attempts, allowing 3 goals with a .927 save percentage. So again, huge win for my Minnesota Wild. Very happy with my boys today. They defeated the Stars 3-2 in overtime. Of course, Marco Rossi with the game-winning goal. Heck yeah. Moving on, we got the Senators shutting out the Blue Jackets 4-0. The Senators, scoring goals for the Senators today was Adam Gaudette, David Perrin, Shane Pinto, and Nicholas Matimpalo. And then assisting was Drake Batherson, Claude Giroux, Ridley Gregg, Fabian Zetterlund, Nick Jensen, Jake Sanderson, and Thomas Chabot, Chabot had 2 assists today. And then Linus Allmark was just excellent. 30 saves out of 30 save attempts and a shutout performance with a 1 save percentage. And then, of course, leading the way for block shots for the Blue Jackets today was a mix of guys. Zach Werenski, Ivan Provorov, Dante Fabro, and Adam Fantilli each had 2 block shots. Nobody scored goals because he got shut out. But in net today, Daniil Tarasov was not good today. 4 saves out of 6 save attempts, allowing 2 goals with a .667 save percentage. He got yanked early, and replacing him was Elvis Merzlikins, who had 22 saves out of 23 save attempts, allowing 1 goal with a .957 save percentage. He was much better, but anyways, the offense could not offense today for the Blue Jackets as they got shut out by the Senators once again, 4-0. And that loss kind of hurts the Blue Jackets' playoff hopes. But the Red Wings defeated the Panthers today 2-1, keeping their playoff hopes alive. The Panthers have been struggling recently. They've been on a losing streak recently. I'm just going to check the schedule here. The Panthers have been on a 5-game losing streak. Oh boy. Panthers are definitely going cold at the wrong time. Let's see if that hurts them in the playoffs. But anyway, scoring goals for the Red Wings was JT Compher and Alex DeBrincat. And then assisting was Patrick Kane, Marco Kasper, Lucas Raymond, and Jeff Petrie. And then in net today, former Minnesota Wild Cam Talbot. He had 32 saves, 33 save attempts, allowing 1 goal with a .970 save percentage. So a masterclass for Talbot. And then scoring the lone goal for the Panthers was Anton Lundell. And then assisting on that goal was Mackie Samskaskiewicz and Carter Verhaeghe. And then in net today was Vitek Vanacek. Who had a decent day, 22 saves out of 24 save attempts, allowing 2 goals with a .917 save percentage. But the offense was not there for the Panthers, as the Red Wings beat the Panthers 2-1. Panthers dropping 5 straight. Might be some concern in Florida. But anyways, moving on, we got the Sabres defeating the Bruins 6-3. This might put the nail in the coffin for the Bruins' playoff hopes. Leading the way for the Sabres was Tage Thompson. Hat trick. Okay, so with further updates, Dre has to go out and do something right now, run some errands. So meanwhile, I'll just be by myself for the moment here. But anyways, like I said, Tage Thompson had a hat trick, of course. He had 3 goals today. And then also scoring goals for the Sabres was Alex Tuch and Rasmus Dahlin, who each had a goal and assist. And then Jason Zucker had a goal as well for the Sabres. And then assisting was Bowen Byram and Peyton Krebs, each having 2 assists. And then Zach Benson, Jiri Kulich, JJ Peterka, and Owen Power all recorded assists as well. And then in net today was Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who had 17 saves out of 20 save attempts, allowing 3 goals with an .850 save percentage. So not the greatest day for Luukkonen, but the offense was there to have his back and leading them to the win. But anyways, looking at the Bruins, scoring goals today was Morgan Geekie, Elias Lindholm, and Casey Middlestat, former Colorado Avalanche. And then assisting today was David Pastrnak. He had 3 assists today. If there was a hat trick for assists, he would have got that. And then also assisting was Henry Jokiharju and Mason Lohrei. And then in net today for the Bruins was Jonas Korpisalo. Yeah, he did not have the greatest day. 31 saves out of 36 save attempts, allowing 5 goals with an .861 save percentage. So yeah, not the greatest day for Korpisalo. Or Corey Pisalo. Or Korpisalo, yeah, I was right. As the Sabres keep their smidge playoff hopes alive, but it looks like the Bruins are mainly done. But anyways, if Dre was here, he would be happy about this result here. The Blackhawks defeated the Penguins 3-1. Scoring goals for the Blackhawks today was Ilya Mikheyev, who had 2 goals today. And then Frank Nazar also had a goal for the Blackhawks. And then assisting was Connor Bedard, Nick Foligno, Teuvo Teravainen, Joe Veleno, and Sam Rinzel. And then in net today for the Blackhawks was Spencer Knight. He had a really good performance today, 28 saves out of 29 save attempts, allowing a goal with .966 save percentage. And then scoring the only goal for the Penguins today was Rickard Rakell, and then assisting on that goal was Ville Kuvinen and Brian Rust. And then the net today for the Penguins was Alex Nedeljkovic, who had 28 saves, 37 attempts, allowing 2 goals with a .933 save percentage. So pretty good day for Nedeljkovic, but the offense was just not there today. Only scoring that one only goal. But the Blackhawks defeat the Penguins, and the Penguins, that loss really hurts their chances at playoffs now. But our next game here, the Canadiens defeat the Predators 2-1. Boy, the Canadiens have been hot recently. Looking here, the Canadiens have won 5 straight. How about that? I have a very happy floor mate so far. But anyways, looking at the Canadiens, scoring for them was Cole Caulfield. Fun fact, he's from Stevens Point, Wisconsin, so Wisconsin native, nice. And Patrick Lane also scoring the goal for the Habs. And then assisting, Alex Newhook, Nick Suzuki, and Lane Hudson. Lane Hudson just continues to have a great rookie season for the Habs. And then In net today for the Canadians was Jakob Dobis, or Jacob Dobis, excuse me. He had 36 saves, 37 save attempts, allowing 1 goal with a .973 save percentage. So a dominant performance for Dobis. And then scoring the only goal today for the Preds was Steven Stamkos, and assisting on that goal was Philip Forsberg. And then in net today was Jussi Saros. Yeah, and Saros struggled. 15 saves out of 17 save attempts, allowing 2 goals with an .882 save percentage. So yeah, not the greatest day for Saros. But anyways, the Canadians won their 5th straight, winning 2-1 over the Preds. And then just finishing up, the Golden Knights defeat the Canucks 3-2. The goal scoring for the Golden Knights was Ivan Barbashev, Victor Olofsson, and Nicholas Roy, or is it Nicola Raw? Or Raw. I think it's Nicholas Roy scoring the goal. And then assisting was William Karlsson, Keegan Colasar, Tanner Pearson, Mark Stone, and Alex Pietrangelo. And then in net today for the Golden Knights was Aiden Hill. He had 19 saves out of 21 save attempts, allowing 2 goals with a .905 save percentage. So a decent day for Aiden Hill. Offense was able to get it done today. And then scoring goals for the Canucks today was Nils Hoglander and Atu Radi. And then assisting was Brock Bosser, Kiefer Sherwood, Pia Suter, and Philip Roenick. And then in net today for the Canucks was Kevin Lankinen. He had 32 saves out of 35 save attempts, allowing 3 goals with a .914 save percentage. So Lankinen had a decent day, but the offense, again, didn't step up as the Golden Knights win a huge one to keep that Pacific Division lead. But anyways, that was the action in NHL today. But now I just want to move on here to college basketball. So we had we had the men's game today, the college basketball crown, but we also had the women's national championship game today. Just want to quickly talk about that real quick. So 2-seeded UConn. UConn is your national champion in the women's college basketball. Congrats to UConn winning that. They defeated the 1-seed South Carolina 82-59. Leading the way for UConn was Sarah Strong. She had 24 points, 15 rebounds, and 3 blocks. What a performance there. And then leading for the way for South Carolina was Malaysia Fuwili, who had 9 points. So a rough day for South Carolina. But my goodness, UConn, just impressive, dominating performances in the Final Four and national championship. They beat UCLA 85-51 in the Final Four, and then of course this beat down today in the national title. So something's telling me UConn is back. Always been a big fan of Gino Auriemma. Always been a big fan of UConn women's basketball. So yeah, that's a big win, big time national title for UConn. So again, congrats to UConn for being your 2025 women's college basketball national champions. So that was in the women's basketball. Now for the men's in the college basketball crown. So in the college basketball crown championship, Nebraska defeated UCF 77-68. Nebraska was led by Jawan Gary with 20 points and 8 rebounds, and Jordan Ivy Curry led UCF with 29 points. So again, congratulations to Nebraska for winning the college basketball crown. Switching levels now from college basketball into the professional ranks. We had a busy NBA day today. Yeah, we did. But if Dre was here, he'd be happy about this result. The Bulls defeat the Hornets 131-117. The Bulls were led by Kobe White. He had 37 points today, including a 6 for 8 from the 3-point line, 12 for 6 from the field, and 7 for 7 from the free throw line. A really good day for Kobe White. And then Josh Giddey had 23 points, 8 assists, and 10 rebounds. So 2 assists shy of a triple-double. Josh Giddey just continues to play well for this Bulls team. And then also Nikola Vucevic had 16 points and 11 rebounds, recording himself a double-double. Off the bench, Patrick Williams, he had 15 points today. And then Kevin Huerter had 13, and Matas Buzelis had 10 points for the Bulls today. Leading the way for the Hornets was Mark Williams. He had 22 points and 9 rebounds today. KJ Simpson for the Hornets had 18 points. And then off the bench was Yusuf Nurkic, having 18 points for the Hornets as well. And then Seth Curry had 10 points for the Hornets. So again, the Bulls defeated the Hornets 131-117. The Raptors defeated the Nets 120-109. The Raptors had a whole bunch of scoring today in the teens. Fun fact, all the bench players for the Raptors today that played today all had double digits. Wow. Only 2 guys that got minutes today for the Raptors did not score double digits. And that was Jamal Shead with 9 and Jacoby Walter with 8. So that close. My goodness. But leading the way for the Raptors was Jonathan Mogbo. He had 17 points and 11 rebounds. How about that? Scoring all those points without even attempting a three-pointer. How about that? Yeah, wow. OJ Agbaji had 15 points. RJ Barrett had 13. And then coming off the bench, AJ Lawson had 13 points. Cole Swider and Jamison Battle each had 12. Jared Rhoden had 10. And then looking at the Nets, wow, the Nets, all 5 stars were in double digits, and then only 1 player for the Nets who got minutes did not score double digits. So, wow. Leading the way for the Nets, though, was Reese Beekman with 14 points. And then Trenton Watford, Zaire Williams, Derek Whitehead, and Maxwell Lewis each had 13 points. Tosan Buomwam had 12 points off the bench. And then Zaire Williams had 11 points for the Nets as well. So the Raptors win the tank bowl against the Nets 120-109. And then the Lakers absolutely destroyed the Thunder today, 126-99. The Lakers were led by Luka Doncic, who had 30 points today. That's 7 rebounds, 6 assists. They were also led by Austin Reeves, who had 20 points. And then also LeBron James had 19 points and 7 assists. And then Dorian Finney-Smith came off the bench with 14 points, 7 rebounds. Gabe Vincent came off the bench with 12 points. And Rui Hachimura had 11 points and 7 rebounds for the Lakers as well. Leading the way for the Thunder was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He had 26 points and 9 rebounds today. Fun fact, SGA did not even attempt a single free throw today. That's surprising. And then also Jalen Williams with an EN had 16 points. Chet Holmgren had 10 points to round out the Thunder. So the Lakers dominate the Thunder in their own game, 126-99. And then the Hawks defeated the Jazz today, 147-134. The Hawks were led by Onyeka Okongwu, who had 27 points and 12 rebounds. Trae Young had 23 points and 15 assists. How about that? And then off the bench, Karis LeVert had 21 points, including a 3 for 5 from the three-point line. Great shooting for LeVert. And then also Dyson Daniels had 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals. What a performance for Daniels tonight. And then Zachary Risache had 16 points. And coming off the bench, Vit Krejci had 17 points, and Terrence Mann had 10 points. And then leading the way for the Jazz was Colin Sexton, who had 27 points. Isaiah Collier had 17 for the Jazz, and Johnny Juzang and Brian Sensabaugh each had 15 points. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Keontae George had 35 points today off the bench. Wow, Keontae George put up a performance, but it came up short though, as the Hawks would beat the Jazz 147-134. Our next game here, the Celtics dominate the Wizards today, 124-90. The Celtics were led by Peyton Pritchard off the bench, who had 20 points today. And then Derek White had 19. Sam Hauser had 18 points off the bench. Jaylen Brown had 15. And then Drew Holiday, Luke Cornett each had 13 points. But Cornett also had 14 rebounds to go with that. Al Horford had 11 points and 10 rebounds on the day as well. And then the Wizards were led by Alex Sarr, who had 16 points. Justin Champagnie had 15 points and 13 rebounds. Jordan Poole had 15 points as well. But Carlton Bub Carrington had 14 points, and AJ Johnson had 12 points for the Wizards. But anyways, the Celtics would defeat the Wizards 124-90. The Kings get a big road win in Cleveland. They win 120-113 over the Cavs. Leading the way for the Kings was Zach LaVine, who had 37 points in the night. And then DeMar DeRozan also had 28 for the Kings. Domantas Sabonis, 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. And then also Keon Ellis had 11 points for the Kings as well. And for the Cavs, they were led by Ty Jerome off the bench with 20 points. Then Donovan Mitchell also had 19 points. And then Jarrett Allen had 17 points. Evan Mobley had 16 points. Max Strus and DeAndre Hunter each had 11 points for the Cavs, as the Kings defeated the Cavs once again 120-113. The Trailblazers defeated the Spurs 120-109. The Trailblazers were led by Toumani Camara, 23 points and 10 rebounds. Camara just continues to do well in this breakout season. Fun fact, the Trailblazers are 21-18 at home, so they have a winning record. And then also, Shaedon Sharpe had 21 points and 10 rebounds. Delano Banton had 20 points for the Blazers. Off the bench, Chris Murray had 18 points, and then Jabari Walker had 10 points for the Blazers. And then also Donovan Clingan had 10 points and 8 rebounds for the Trailblazers as well. Leading the Spurs was Stephon Castle, who had 22 points and 7 rebounds. Devin Vassell had 21 points as well. And then Malachi Branham and Harrison Barnes each had 17 points. And Bismack Biyombo had 10 points for the Spurs, as the Trailblazers again would win 120-109 over the Spurs. And then the Knicks defeated the Suns 112-98. The Knicks were led by, you guessed it, OG Anunoby, who was, ever since I went to the Bucks game against the Knicks, OG Anunoby has been on fire. He had 32 points. Oh, and Dre's coming back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, so we got Dre back.
Bro, I'm in
He's
my
good.
car. Can you hear me?
Yep. We can hear you
Dude.
sounding clear.
Well, I'm lagging. At least my camera is. I don't know if it is for you. I will
Yeah.
be back once I get to my house, gang. Just wanted to let you know that I'll be back on.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for the update, Dre. But anyways, back to the Knicks and Suns game. Of course, OG Anunoby led the Knicks with 32 points. Mikal Bridges had 22 points as well for the Knicks. Karl-Anthony Towns had 19 points and 13 rebounds. And then Jalen Brunson had 15 points. Jalen Brunson starting to get back to the feel of things, back in a little bit of NBA action before the playoffs start. And then meanwhile for the Suns, they were led by Devin Booker, who had 40 points as he continues to carry the Suns team. Bradley Beal had 16 points, and then off the bench was Grayson Allen, who had 15 points. Again, the Knicks defeat the Suns 112-98. And then the Pacers defeated the Nuggets. This is a sigh. 125-120. And the Pacers continue to be 3 games above the Bucks, so this was kind of annoying, but it is what it is. The Pacers were led by Miles Turner, who had 24 points. Obi Toppin had 22, and then Andrew Nembhard had 19 points. Aaron Nesmith had 17 points, and then off the bench was TJ McConnell having 12, and Jarris Walker had 11 for the Pacers. And then for the Nuggets, they were led by, you guessed it, Nikola Jokic, who recorded another triple-double in another loss. 41 points, 15 rebounds, 13 assists. Jokic just keeps having an impressive season. And then meanwhile, Christian Braun, I always thought it was Braun, just Ryan Braun. But anyways, Christian Braun had 30 points today. 12 for 16 from the field, 3 for 3 from the 3-point line. That would make sense why he did that. And then Off the bench was Russell Westbrook had 16 points, and then Michael Porter Jr. had 15 for the Nuggets as well. Pacers get a big-time road win over the Nuggets, 125-120. It looks like Dre is back in his house, ready to join us.
Finally.
All right, so we got 2 more NBA games for you as the Rockets defeat the Warriors 106-96. The Rockets were led by Dylan Brooks with 24 points. Jalen Green had 21. And then Alperen Sengun had 19 points and 14 rebounds, recording himself a double-double. Amen Thompson had 14 points as well. And Jabari Smith Jr. had 16 points and 9 rebounds off the bench. Meanwhile, for the Warriors, they were led by Buddy Hield off the bench with 20 points. Fun fact about the Warriors, the Warriors played 10 bench players tonight, so a total of 15 players play for the Warriors. My goodness, that is a lot. And then also off the bench, GP2, Gary Payton II, having 16 points. Brandon Bozemski had 19 points. He was a starter, by the way. And Jimmy Butler had 13 points. And then Steph Curry. Steph Curry struggled tonight. 3 points, 1 for 7 for the field, and 1 for 4 from the 3-point line. Yeah, Steph Curry. I'm just kidding,
Bro.
Steph. I love you, but yeah, it's just not a good night for Steph Curry.
Did you see the stat line of Amen Thompson who was covering him? It was insane. He was like 0 for 8 from 3. It was just nuts.
I mean, it just shows you how good of a defender Amen Thompson is, and he's a forward too, just guarding Steph. Just impressive defense for Amen Thompson. I think that's basically the main reason why Steph Curry struggled. And then the last game of the night, a game that was rescheduled from January 22nd because of snow in New Orleans. Yes, snow in New Orleans. But anyways, the Bucks win the Injury Bowl. They defeat the Pelicans 111-107. Why do I say Injury Bowl? Because Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard were out for the Bucks. Meanwhile, basically the whole entire roster for the Pelicans was out, including Jose Alvarado, Zion Williamson, CJ McCollum, and all those guys. So yeah, it was basically an Injury Bowl. I mean, I watched the last 2 quarters of the game. I watched the beginning too, but yeah, it was definitely the Injury Bowl. But anyways, the Bucks were led by Gary Trent Jr., who stepped up big. 29 points today. He shot 10 for 17 from the field, 4 for 10 from the 3-point line. And then also Kevin Porter Jr., Brook Lopez each had 20 points, but Lopez also had 12 rebounds to go with his 20. Kyle Kuzma had 17 points. Pretty good day for Kuz. And then off the bench was Ryan Rollins, who had 14 points. But he's struggled, 5 for 15 from the field, 0 for 3 from the 3-point line. But still got his 14 points. Meanwhile, leading the way for the Pelicans was Yves Missy, who had 18 points, 12 rebounds. And then, Antonio Reeves had 23 points anyways.
2 rookies leading the way.
Yeah, Antonio Reeves, fun fact, he played at Kentucky last year, but before he played Kentucky, he played at Illinois State, and he gave the Badgers fits. I mean, Illinois State only lost to Wisconsin by 4, but I think Antonio Reeves dropped 40 that night. I remember that vividly.
What?
Yeah. And then Lester Quinones had 17 points off the bench for the Pelicans. Carlo Makovic also had 11 off the bench. And then Bruce Brown had 16, and Keon Brooks Jr. had 13 points and 10 rebounds. So that's it for the NBA day. So, Dre, do you want to lead us into some MLB action today? And there's a lot of MLB, I'm sorry, but
I don't care. I'm just looking at. I mean, like the Pelicans, it sucks because they're all hurt. They only have 21 wins, but like you got a great Yves Missy, who is a super good underrated rookie with 18 points, 12 rebounds. Elfrid Payton had 0 points, but he returned with 10 assists. I mean, He was out of the league for like 7 years. What? Don't even.
No, I'm just kidding. I won't do it.
Yeah, okay, I'll go to the MLB. Bro.
Psych.
Look. Kitty. Alright, cat. Oh, I guess you're underneath my computer now. Holy cow, every team played today. Alright, our first game of the day, the New York Yankees lost in Pittsburgh 5-4. The Pirates won a walk-off in the 11th. They were led by Brian Reynolds with 2 RBIs, Tommy Pham with 2 RBIs, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa with an RBI. Andrew Heaney threw a gem today, 7 innings, 1 earned run, and 10 strikeouts. And then Joey Wentz had an inning and 2 strikeouts in the 11th. The Yankees were led by Trent Grisham, who continues his hot hitting, 2 RBIs, and then Oswaldo Peraza and Jazz Chisholm both have the other 2 RBIs. Will Warren struggled. He gave up 4 runs in 4 innings, but then the bullpen gave up 0 earned runs, but Devin Williams ended up giving up the walk-off hit. Our next game, the Nationals get a back-to-back win, 5-4 over the Diamondbacks. Nationals were led by C.J. Abrams, Keibert Ruiz, Nate Lowe, Alex Call, and Paul DeJong, who all had RBIs. And then Trevor Williams went 5 innings with 3 earned runs and 6 strikeouts. Jorge Lopez gave up a run in his inning of work, former Cub. And the Diamondbacks were led by Jose Herrera, who had a home run in his one of his 2 at-bats. Alec Thomas had an RBI. Pavin Smith and Geraldo Perdomo both had RBIs. And Corbin Burns kind of struggled. 5 innings, 4 earned runs. And Joe Mantiply had an earned run in his inning of work. Our next game, what is going on here? Chat. Okay, next game, Phillies get a win, 8-7 over the Dodgers. So no team has 10 wins yet. Michael, I see that face. You better not do it. You stay on there, cat. The Phillies were led by Nick Castellanos, who had a grand slam today. And then Bryce Harper, Bryson Stott, and Edmundo Sosa all had RBIs. Christopher Sanchez went 5 2/3 with 4 earned runs and 9 strikeouts. And Jordan Romano struggled, former Blue Jay, 3 earned runs in 0 innings, but Jose Alvarado ended up shutting down the Dodgers in the 9th to secure the win. The Dodgers were led by Teoscar Hernandez, who had 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and then Mookie Betts and Will Smith both had RBIs. Tyler Glasnow struggled, 2 innings, 5 earned runs, and then Blake Trinan gave up 2 earned runs. Luis Garcia in the 8th had 3 walks and 0 earned runs, which confuses me. So yeah, and then the final game. Actually, I'll do the doubleheader combined. The Boston Red Sox swept the St. Louis Cardinals today in their doubleheader, 5-4 and 18-7. Wow! In Game 1, the 5-4 game, the Red Sox won on a walk-off in the 10th. They were led by Rafael Devers, who continues his hot hitting now after a very slow start, had a home run. And then Wilyer Abreu, David Hamilton, and Romy Gonzalez all had RBIs. Sean Newcomb, who is usually a reliever, got the start today. 4 2/3 innings with only 1 earned run. Garrett Whitlock struggled. He had 2 earned runs in his 2 innings. And Justin Wilson. A lot of lefties pitching today for the Red Sox, especially Aroldis Chapman, who went an inning and got the save. The Cardinals were led by Pedro Pajes with 3 RBIs. And Mason Wynn, who had the other RBI. Oh, man. Andre Palante went 4 1/3 innings with 6 strikeouts and 2 earned runs. But then Ryan Helsley gave up 2 earned runs in the 9th for the Red Sox to tie it up. And then in the 10th, Ryan Fernandez gave up the walk-off hit. And in Game 2 of the doubleheader, the Red Sox just dominated. St. Louis scored 4 of their 7 runs in the top of the 9th, when I'm pretty sure. Nope, they just put in a really bad reliever, Cooper Criswell. So for the Red Sox, they were led by Alex Bregman, 6 RBIs and a home run. Jaron Duran and Cedane Rafaela both had 2 RBIs. Willie Abreu had 3 RBIs, and Carlos Narvaez had the other RBI. Oh, Rafael Devers also had 3 RBIs. Wow. I mean, he was 4 for 4 in game 2. Hunter Dobbins went 5 innings with 2 earned runs and 5 strikeouts. And then Cooper Criswell in the 9th, I'm pretty sure he was probably just like lobbing it in there because they're up by 14 runs. Oh, actually, never mind. He pitched 3 innings. So, 3 earned runs in the, what? I guess one of the runs was unearned in the 9th. But yeah. He gave up 5 runs in total, but only 3 were earned. That's a bad outing. 5 total runs. And then for the Cardinals, they were led by Thomas Segesi. Or Segess, I don't know. He had a home run and 4 RBIs, which means he hit a grand slam, so that's cool. Mason Wynn had an RBI, and Brendan Donovan had the other 2 RBIs. Miles Michaelis, 2 2/3 innings, 8 earned runs. And then in relief, Gordon Graceffo, 3 innings, 9 hits, 7 earned runs. And then John King and Chris Roycroft only gave up 1 earned run in their 2 1/3 innings of relief. So the Red Sox didn't even have to bat in the 9th inning, so that's crazy. Especially when they put up 18 runs. So yeah, Michael, do you have anything for those first 5 games?
Oh, I just gotta say, I mean, the Nationals, I mean, winning a series against the Diamondbacks, pretty impressive stuff, especially like what the Diamondbacks did in Yankee Stadium. But anyways, I mean, Corbin Burns definitely struggled today. Like, I mean, Corbin Burns, I mean, he has a 5.79 ERA now. So, yeah, that'd be interesting to see what happens with them. But the Phillies, they're looking like they can put up a fight with the Dodgers. I mean, that roster. I mean, if the Phillies, if they keep being hot, the bats keep doing what they're doing, and then the pitching like locks down, I mean, the Phillies could definitely be up there with the Dodgers. I mean, I'm not saying the Phillies are as good as the Dodgers because that Dodgers roster is loaded, but I mean, the Phillies could definitely compete with them. And then the Pirates, they get a good walk off today, and Devin Williams took the loss, so that's interesting. And then also the Red Sox with them sweeping the Cardinals, especially that offense, especially the second half on national television. Like, my goodness. And it's also good to see Rafael Devers is doing good again, especially after that horrid start. But yeah, just like the Red Sox with hope, he's basically back. And with the Cardinals actually losing now, the Cubs actually have the NL Central lead, so you're probably stoked about that.
Finally. We'll get to them
Yeah.
later, though.
Yeah.
All right. Our next 5 games, the White Sox got swept by the Tigers. The Tigers completed the sweep 4-3. Tigers were led by Spencer Torkelson, 2 RBIs. Michael, your guy is just raking. He was 1 for 5, but 2 RBIs. He's swinging the twig good, I guess. And then Andy Ibanez and Javier Baez. Javier Baez, 3 for 4 today with an RBI. How about that? And he was playing center field. My guy is back. And then Jackson Jobe had 5 innings of 2-run ball, and the bullpen shut down the White Sox. Then for the White Sox, they were led by Matt Tice, Andrew Vaughn, and Jacob Amaya, who all had RBIs. Martin Perez had 6 1/3 innings of 1-run ball, but then Fraser Ellard in the 9th inning gave up 3 earned runs, and then Jordan Leisure could not finish it off, which I assume that Fraser Ellard gave up all of the base runners, and then Jordan Leisure had to go in and pitch, but couldn't stop him from scoring. So yeah, so the Tigers kind of on a hot streak at the moment. Our next game, the Mets, on the day that the Blue Jays extend Vladimir Guerrero, Mets get a win 2-1. The Mets were led by Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo, who both had RBIs in the 3rd inning. And then David Peterson went 4 2/3 with 1 earned run, and the bullpen. And Edwin Diaz got the save, and the rest of the bullpen did not give up a run. Whew. And then for the Blue Jays, their lone run was scored by Andres Jimenez on a sac fly. Bowden Francis had 5 1/3 innings of 2-run ball. I mean, not a lot of runs scored, so yeah, the bullpen again gave up 0 runs. So yeah, a little bit of a boring game, not high scoring. But hey, maybe you just need a couple pitching duels in the MLB. This one
I
surely
love my
wasn't.
pitching duels.
The Houston Astros getting one on the road, 9-7 over the Minnesota Twins. The Astros put up 4 runs in the 9th and 10th inning, so 2 in each inning, to get the win. They were led by Yordan Alvarez, who had a 3-run homer, and then Isaac Paredes and Jose Altuve both had 2 RBIs. Where's he at? Damn. Cam Smith didn't play. Shucks. The pitching for the Astros, Ronel Blanco went 1 2/3 with 4 earned runs, and Luis Contreras in relief gave up 3 runs and 2 1/3. But in the rest of the bullpen, Josh Hader went 2 innings with 3 strikeouts to get the win. Bro. And then for the Twins, they were led by Trevor Larnach, who had 3 RBIs. Ryan Jeffers had 2 RBIs. Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa both chipped in a single RBI. And Chris Paddock struggled. 4 innings, 3 earned runs, 7 hits. And then Griffin Jackson and Luis Varland gave up 3 runs total in their 2 innings of work. And then Darren McGoffin gave up a run in 2/3 of an inning. So yeah, Astros getting back on track with a win on the road. Our next game, Royals. Speaking of teams getting back on track, 4-1 win over the Orioles. They were led by Michael Massey, who had 2 RBIs. Freddie Fermin and Vinny Pasquantino also had RBIs. Chris Bubik, great name and great outing. 6 2/3 of 1-run ball and 8 strikeouts. And yeah, the Orioles were led by nobody who had an RBI today, so that's weird. So Chris Polvik, 13 hits in 6 innings and 4 earned runs. Sir Anthony Dominguez and Yennier Cano both did not give up hits. So yeah, bad starting pitching. And then our final game of this slate, the Milwaukee Brewers get to 500 as they win 8-2 over the Cincinnati Reds. The Brewers were led by Jackson Torrio, who had 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. Yelich and Oliver Dunn had the other 2 RBIs. Chad Patrick went 5 1/3 and 1 earned run. And then Grant Anderson in the 9th gave up an earned run. Or excuse me, the 8th. Sorry, I read that wrong. Yeah. I quit. You're getting banned. The Reds were led by Spencer Steer, who had a home run, and then TJ Friedl, who had an RBI. Carson Spears had 3 1/3 innings of work, and 4 earned runs. Sam Mole got the loss. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure. Did it go to Carson Spears?
Yeah, I went to Spears.
Okay, but Sam Mole in 2/3 of an inning gave up 3 runs. That's why I said that. And then Ian Gabot had 1 earned run in an inning. So yeah, Michael. So we had the Tigers getting the sweep over the White Sox. The Mets getting a win at home against the Blue Jays. Astros getting back on track as well. The Royals getting back on track. And the Brewers getting a big win to get back to 500. What do you have on that?
I'm so glad that Spencer Torkelson is doing well. I mean, he's just been raking, and I don't know, absolute cinema for Torkelson. Yeah, I mean, it's just so glad to see him back. And the Blue Jays, of course, they extended Guerrero, but they got swept by the Mets. I mean, but the Mets are looking good. I mean, starting pitching, the bullpen looked great in this series, but a little concerned about the Blue Jays, but I think they'll be all right as long as they win some games this upcoming series. They'll be all right. And then the Royals, like the Orioles and Royals, basically went back and forth. So that was a kind of a fun series to watch between 2 teams trying to rack out wins. And the Brewers, yes, dude, we continue to be back. I know we took 3 out of 4 from the Reds, but I mean, you know, I'm confident in the Brewers. But now the tough part comes, and now the Brewers have got to go out west. So now we'll see how we do there. We go to Colorado, so hopefully the offense does well there. And then we go to Arizona, so yeah, that'll be interesting. And then the Astros, I mean, just good resilience in the Astros today. Very impressed, down 5-7 in the 8th, and they were able to win that. And of course, you could say the Twins choke, but I don't know. The Twins just got to close out ball games. That's the thing. The Twins got to close out seasons. They got to close out ball games. You can't close out seasons if you can't close out ball games. And you look at the Twins, like, they choked last year. They went on an epic collapse. they kind of collapsed today. So if I'm Minnesota, I'd be worried about the Twins finishing off games. Today was a prime example of that.
I agree. Twins have not been very good in the playoffs. But our next game, sadly, the Chicago Cubs could not complete the sweep today over the San Diego Padres. Padres get a win 8-7. The Padres were led by Jackson Merrill, who had 2 RBIs and a home run. Luis Arraez, Jake Cronenworth, Xander Bogaerts, Gavin Sheets, and Jason Hayward, the former Cub, all had RBIs. Kyle Hart went 2/3 of an inning with a start and 5 earned runs. And then Logan Gillespie had 4 innings of 2-run ball. And the bullpen, Robert Suarez, Jason Adams, Jeremiah Estrada, and Adrian Morjan just shut the Cubs down. Cubs were up 7-3 going to the 3rd inning, and they lost. And then the Cubs, they were led by Kyle Tucker with a home run and 3 RBIs. Justin Turner, the 40-year-old guy, had a home run. Or not a home run, sorry, an RBI. And Nico Horner had the other RBI. Ben Brown also struggled. 4 innings, 5 earned runs. Caleb Thielbar, 1 earned run and 2/3 of an inning. Porter Hodge, 1 inning, 1 earned run. And then Brian Presley gave up the loss with an inning and a run given up, but it was unearned. So, yeah. I'll talk about that after. Our next game, the Rangers, who the Cubs play next, get a win at home, 4-3 over the Tampa Bay Rays. Rangers were led by Corey Seager, who had a home run. Marcus Semien, Jonah Heim, and Leody Taveras had RBIs as well. Kumar Rocker keeps up his swell pitching. 5 innings of 1-run ball, and then Mark Church gave up 2 earned runs in the 8th inning. So, yeah, the Rays were led by Brandon Lau, Junior Caminero, who is going to be a demon, and Cameron Misner, who has been very solid for them. I do not know who that is. I am not familiar with him, but he has been playing very good. Drew Rasmussen had 5 innings of 1-run ball and 4 strikeouts. Garrett Clevenger had 1 earned run and 2/3 of an inning, and Edwin Uceda gave up the walk-off hit against, I couldn't tell you exactly who it was, but the Rangers won on a walk-off hit in the 9th. And Edwin Uceda got the blown save, or I guess the loss. Our next game, the Athletics lose this one to the Colorado Rockies, who pick up their 2nd win. Rockies were led by Brenton Doyle with a home run, and then Tyler Freeman, Chris Bryant, and Ryan McMahon had RBIs, as well as Ezekiel Tovar, who had 3 RBIs, and Hunter Goodman, who had 2. Chase Dollinger. Oh, they did call up Chase Dollinger, their 1st-round pick. 7 hits and 4 earned runs in 5 innings. And then Victor Vodnik had 1 earned run and an inning and 2/3. And then for the Athletics, Lawrence Butler and Tyler Soderstrom. Soderstrom has been on a heater this year. He is a very bright spot in this Athletics team. They both had home runs, 2-run home runs to be exact. And then Miguel Andujar had a RBI. Joey Estes had 6 earned runs in 3 innings, and then Mitch Spence had 3 earned runs in 4 1/3, and TJ McFarland had 3 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. So the Athletics pitching department was buns. So yeah, 2 more games to go. The Giants complete the sweep of the Mariners, 5-4. The Giants were led by Mike Yastrzemski with 3 RBIs and a home run. Heliot Ramos and Wilmer Flores both chipped in RBIs. Jordan Hicks, the former Cardinal, 5 1/3 with 3 earned runs. And then Camilo Doval gave up an RBI in the 9th inning. But then he blew the save. But luckily, his teammates had his back because they walked it off. The Mariners were led by Julio Rodriguez and Cal Raleigh, who both had home solo shots. Ryan Bliss had an RBI. And Randy Arozarena had an RBI. Brian Wu had 6 innings of 4-run ball, and then Gregory Santos gave up the walk-off in the 9th. So, yeah. And then our final game of the day, the Angels complete not the sweep. They lost the first game. The Angels get the win, though, at home over the Guardians, 6-2. Jorge Soler, Logan O'Hoppe, and Kyron Paris all had home runs. as well as Tim Anderson and Luis Rengifo had RBIs. Tyler Anderson went 5 innings of 2-run ball, and the bullpen shut him down. Ben Joyce, one of my favorite players, won in the 3rd innings. And then the Guardians were led by Kyle Manzardo, who had a home run, and then Lane Thomas had the other RBI. Luis L. Ortiz had 3 earned runs in 6 innings, and then Paul Sewald gave up an RBI in the 8th inning. So yeah, the Angels did not even have to hit in the 9th inning. So yeah, Michael, anything on that last slate?
Yeah, I mean the Padres finally found offense in Chicago. The Padres. As hot as they've been, you kind of expect that they would cool down at one point, but they're finally going again. Chicago is always a tough place to hit. I know I'm a Brewer fan, but anyways, good that they eventually found it. And then the Rangers, they look legit. They're 8-2. They're one of the most slept on teams. No one's really talking about them at 8-2, but yeah, they're just keep on playing some great baseball. They're pitching, they're hitting. Bruce Bochy is definitely leading this team to places right now. Yeah, and then the Rockies starting to hit the baseball well. I know they played the Athletics, but getting that second win this season, that was huge for them. And then the Giants, 8-1. This is another team that no one's talk about. There's just an 8-1 ball club right now. Their hitting's been really good. Of course, their pitching. Everything's been clicking for the Giants right now. They're 8-1. My goodness, that NL West is going to be loaded this year. That is going to be a gauntlet. And of course, the Angels. The Angels are 6-3. The Angels are 6-3. Wow. I just have a feeling this is going to be a crazy baseball season. So much competitiveness. And the Guardians, yeah, they're 3-6 right now. They're not off to a great start. But, yeah, I believe the Guardians now have lost 5 out of their last 6. So, brutal in Cleveland. I just think Cleveland needs to get back home, get out of California, and I think they should be all right.
I agree. Angels, they've been playing pretty damn good, and I think they could even play better. They're without Zach Neto, who is one of their top prospects. Nolan Schanuel hasn't been playing the best. He's one of their top prospects. At least last year he was, when they brought him up right away. Their pitching, still not confident in that, but it seems like it's been doing pretty good. And then the Cubs, obviously. They play the Rangers next, so that'll be a dog fight, in my opinion. And, yeah, that's all I really got. So, Michael, I have no picks for tonight. I looked at the underdog, and there's nothing on there. So, you have anything else?
No, I don't have anything, but with that being said, that'll do it tonight. So thank you for tuning in to tonight's podcast. Of course, Michael Hearn there with Andre Tanner. If you like the sound effects, I'll keep doing them, and if you don't, I guess it's
Too
not fun.
bad.
Yeah, I'll try not to do them as much next time. I just kind of want to, introduce them a little bit. I had fun doing them, so why not? But I won't put them in as much, like tonight. That's fun. But anyways, thank you so much for again tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow night. So peace, and you can now. Okay, that's something I need to do now for doing that corny pun there. But anyways, but for real, peace out though. Have a good night, everybody.
See you later, gang.